Hi, I'm Kevin Graham, and I'm delighted to welcome you to the National Speakers Association's Greater Los Angeles Chapter's Past Presidents video. Wow, you are in for a treat. GLAC has a rich heritage, so hang in there as you're going to hear from some of the finest speakers and leaders NSA has ever produced. NSA is the leading association for professional speakers, and NSA GLAC is here to empower SoCal speakers to connect and grow. We serve a diverse local market that represents over 21 million people. The economic engine of Southern California is the equivalent of the 15th largest economy in the world. And we've got the LA Galaxy. Our chapter is home to Cavett Award Winners, past NSA National Presidents, certified speaking professionals known as CSPs, and Hall of Fame speakers known as CPAEs. Heck, we're even home to California's funniest female. This video is a collection of content from past presidents. No, not those past presidents. These past presidents, and many others, like these three legends. You're going to experience a unique look back at GLAC, as nearly 24 past presidents have contributed to this compilation. I love this photo. If it weren't for Sue Padani's legs, I'd be drowning in Lola Gillibard's eyes. What a beautiful group of people. I recognize Cavett Robert, of course, David Rolander, Dave Jensen, Roger Dawson, Bonnie Dean, and Connie Ambert. That even looks like Art Linkletter. Jim Cathcart, help us out here.
Looking at this group of Roger Dawson, Dave Rolander, Erica Jagger, Mike Rounds, Bonnie Dean, Art Linkletter, Connie Ambert, Lola Gillibard, Dave Jensen, Jane Holcomb, Cavett Robert, Terry Mayfield, Sue Podani, and Ralph DiDonato. I remember every one of them well. These are my friends and colleagues with whom I grew up in the speaking business to a large extent. It's a great piece of history, the first Connie contest. Wow, wish I'd been in the photo that day too.
Wait, Jim, you're in! Interestingly, that picture was taken in 1994, a few months following the Northridge earthquake and the same month as the infamous O.J. Simpson Bronco chase. Two fairly monumental events in Los Angeles history. Yes, this chapter has some amazing history. As my term as president comes to a close, I want to say thank you to the 2012-2013 GLAC Board of Directors for their great achievements. It was my desire to raise the profile of GLAC in the region and across NSA, and the leadership team delivered in a big way. We revised our website and made it a destination to find speakers in the region. We transitioned from an executive director model to a chapter administrator model, reflecting the current size of our group. Our events were held on the water at the inspirational setting of the Marina del Rey Hotel. We took a significant fiscal loss and turned it into a profit, in large part based on the great work of the NSA GLAC Speakers Academy Dean and immediate past president Gary Hankins. The NSA GLAC Speakers Academy promoted a record number of students to NSA qualification last year, and this year has a record 19 students. It's an important strategic program for our chapter. In addition, this past year, we reestablished a critical mass with the leadership team, and yours truly even got published in the 2012 NSA book, Speak More. And GLAC is home to the next Speaker Magazine and Voices of Experience VOE chairs in Cherie Alexander and Jim Cathcart, respectively. And of course, we delivered some amazing programs. Incoming NSA National President Ron Culverson kicked us off, followed by an epic summer barbecue at Pete Johnson's estate in Laguna Niguel. Scott McCain was as good as it gets, and we had Tom Winninger, Danny Cox, Tom Antion, our very own Terry Hawkins, Ford Sakes, Judy Carter, a great blogging event, and incoming NSA National President Ron Carr to induct new GLAC President Tom Oser into office. Ron Carr also presented his powerful program, How to Turn a Speech into a Six-Figure Relationship. But enough about 2013. Those are my puppies, and this video is my gift to GLAC, which I hope offers a deep reflection into the chapter's history.
Hi, Kevin. This is Connie Ambert. I wanted to tell you how it all started. It was in 1980 when Dottie Walters called a number of established speakers in the Orange County and Los Angeles area and wanted to form a chapter for national speakers in our area. Well, I think there might have been maybe 10 to 15 of us. And at that meeting, she appointed the first president. His name was Jake Weisberg. And then the following year, there was supposed to be a speaker by the name of Charles Salisbury, but nobody ever saw him. He never came. So somebody had to conduct the meetings, and it was I who did it. And consequently, in 1982, I was then elected president.
Great stuff, Connie. And more from Connie later, as she has a wonderful personal story to share. Here's Cavett Award winner, past NSA National President, CSP, CPAE, and Ambassador of the Global Speakers Federation, Dr. Terry Paulson.
Be a member of NSA. I replied with enthusiasm, I've been a member since 1980. She countered, I've never seen you at NSA. I replied with all candor, I've never gone, I just wanted the logo. And working with GLAC was in charge of the LA Winter Workshop that year and had me present a breakout session. I was blown away. From that, my first NSA Winter Workshop in 1987, I knew I had found a home. These people were like me. They had the gift of gab, a passion to speak, and a window to the world that audiences would pay to hear. NSA helped me refine my delivery and my business. It fueled my commitment to serve and my ability to live my American dream, having my own successful company. To lead an organization that has served you is a treasured gift.
Wow. Terry Paulson is just one of 3 Cavett Award winners that GLAC boasts, all of which are Hall of Famers. W. Mitchell was awarded the Cavett just recently in 2011. And this next, past NSA National President, is not only a Cavett Award winner, he's a recipient of Toastmasters International's Golden Gavel, a CSP, CPAE. He's been published 16 times with 2 international bestsellers and has delivered nearly 3,000 paid presentations. And let me tell you, it would take 100 speakers 100 years to contribute to NSA to the degree that this great leader has contributed to NSA and GLAC over the decades. Mr. Jim Cathcart.
The first Greater Los Angeles chapter meeting I went to was many years ago when the chapter was first formed. The person who formed the chapter, or at least the one person that was leading the charge at the time, was Dottie Walters. And I was serving on the National Board of Directors, I think. I was on the board from 1980 through 1990. So anyway, I was invited to come to the chapter, and Chuck Salisbury picked me up in his Clenet, C-L-E-N-E-T, a collector's automobile, a special car that looked like an old-time Excalibur, real sports car from the 1920s. And he drove me to the meeting, and the meeting was in Burbank, up on the hill above Burbank Studios, at a restaurant. I think it was a Oriental restaurant. Anyway, it was a delightful meeting, and it was great excitement meeting with the chapter up there.
Thank you, Jim. More from you later, too. Wow, amazing imagery, Jim. I know it takes a lot of unglamorous work to live a glamorous life, and clearly you are a master.
Other Hall of Famers in GLAC include Eileen McDarr, Terry Shodine, and John Patrick Dolan.
GLAC boasts many certified speaking professionals known as CSPs. Of course, all of our Hall of Famers are CSPs. And President-elect Terry Hawkins, George Headley, Scott Hunter, Ed Rigsby, and Jody Walker round out our current group of CSPs. To date, GLAC has awarded 5 Lifetime Achievement Awards. Recipients include Dr. Terry Paulson, Dottie Walters, Connie Ambert, Lola Gillibard, and Jim Cathcart. Here's a neat piece from 2005.
So I received an answer from this woman, and the answer was, oh, darn. Now, mind you, she lives in Laguna. I live in Pasadena. She said, oh, darn. She said, I came to visit you, and I thought you meant it, so I left. Can you guess who I'm talking about? Lola Gillibard. And it is Gillibard, isn't it? You know, I am so thrilled and delighted to be joining the ranks of Terry Paulson, Jim Cathcart, and Dottie Walters, the founder of this chapter. So this just absolutely thrills me to be getting this wonderful, wonderful honor. And I thank all of you for being here and sharing this with me today. I have prepared a conclusion, and it's right here. Oh yeah, here it is. Thank you.
Later, you'll get to see past President Mike Round's presentation to Connie. It's sensational. But first, did I hear Connie mention Lola Gillibard? Last year, Lola was awarded California's funniest female. And everyone knows California is one hilarious state.
I may not be hot in Cleveland, but I'm smoking in Burbank. The doctor did tell me that I should slow down on my sex life. He told me if I didn't, that I might end up having to use a walking stick. Just this morning, I was fixing boiled eggs for husband Hank. He came in the kitchen and I said, "Hank, you gotta make love to me. You gotta make love to me this very minute." And he did. Right there on the kitchen table. And when it was all over, he said, "Wow, what was that all about?" I said, "The egg time is broken." His eggs softball.
We'll have more Lola later on, too. Hank and her have been together almost 60 years.
Actually, it's 58 if you count that year we spent in the back seat of his car.
We've got a bunch of past presidents to hear from, so let's look at some more highlights from our chapters past. This next lady carried the Speakers Academy for many years, and like many of our past presidents, was also a member of the year, Ms. Liz DeClifford.
Hello, I'm Liz DeClifford, past president of the GLAC chapter in 2010-11. Following year, I was member of the year, and over the past 6-7 years, Gideon and Grunfeld and I created the current Speaker Academy curriculum. We grew it from a very small academy to one that is now hugely successful in the United States, in the National Speakers Association. I have loved my years volunteering for the National Speakers Association Greater Los Angeles chapter. From that, my business has grown through the wonderful contacts and valuable time I've spent with other colleagues globally, and have grown my business and been to the National Speakers Association in England and other places. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Speaking of ladies, they don't get any more beautiful than Sue Podani.
One of the highlights for me during my term as president was that we had the winter workshop in Irvine, and we were the host chapter. I think it was the best winter workshop ever, of course, but we did such a great job as a chapter of making people feel welcome. Eileen McDarr was our speaker, or was actually the chair of the event, and Vanna was her co-chair. And I had the honor of welcoming everyone. And then our Michael, who was one of our famous musicians, was the opening act. And guess what? He levitated me right on stage. And I promised never to tell how he did it, but that was so much fun. And I'm so glad I wasn't the one that got sawed in half. I loved my years on the board and being president of GLAC. It allowed me to use my leadership skills and spend quality time with amazing people who are still very valued friends. I am very grateful for the opportunity to serve GLAC and NSA. My message to you is get involved. It will enrich your life and your NSA experience. And thank you for the memories.
Thank you, Sue. Before we go too far, I'd like to pay tribute to Mr. Dave. Dave Morton served this chapter for decades, and it was an honor to see more than a dozen GLAC past presidents at his memorial service. One past president that could not attend was Kelly Hill Greenwade, who also passed away last year. Thank you for your great service, Kelly. I hope we make you proud. If you've ever experienced NSA, then you've experienced the spirit of Cavett. As NSA celebrates 40 years, NSA founder Cavett Robert is a legend. Cavett Robert decided to become a professional speaker at the ripe age of 61 years old, and that was long before 50 is the new 30. He had a vision where speakers could share and help each other even if direct competitors, not out of fear of taking each other's slice of the pie, but of working together as an industry to grow this business into a bigger pie. My favorite Cavett quote is, "Everyone wears a big sign on them that says, 'Make me feel important.'" It's true, isn't it? And that insight was long before the narcissism we so often see today. Yes, he was a visionary. But who am I to talk about Cavett Robert? Let's hear from Jim Cathcart again.
Here's a comment on the spirit of Cavett. I knew Cavett Robert, and I knew him well. When I joined NSA, it was 1976. And Cavett, of course, was one of the primary players. The first president of NSA was Bill Gove, and he served for 2 years in a row as president. Cavett never served as president. He was just the founder. And just the founder. He was the founder. And he was the one that made it all happen, brought everybody together to get it going. So I joined in 1976. NSA just had a handful of members. My first meeting was 1978, I believe. It was Louisville, Kentucky.
Yes, the spirit of Cavett is alive and well in NSA GLAC. George Headley, CSP, LPBC, licensed professional business coach, was the first new president of the new millennium. George?
Hi, how you doing? My name's George Headley. I was the president of the Greater Los Angeles chapter of the National Speakers Association from 2001 to 2002. Man, that's like several lifetimes ago. We had a lot of fun. Our whole focus during those years was to grow the association. We started with less than 100 paying members, and our goal was 2,000 let's have 202 members. My motto was think, act, and be huge. Some things never change. So I had a lot of big goals: increase our membership to 202, positive cash flow. We had a little cash flow problem. What else is new? Efficient platform excellence program, professional development. That was one of our big draws, and then community networking. So some things never change, and so we implemented a lot of programs. We had a great board of directors. We had Linda Curtin, Nancy Miller, Kathy Miller, Gene Siciliano, Barry Siegel, Marion Mathis, Marilyn Snyder, Joe Ditzel, Mike Rounds. Where are all of those people? I still talk to them every once in a while, but I haven't seen them in a long time. But we had committees for professional development, program committees, a membership committee, marketing, fast track. So we had all sorts of things going in our chapter, and we really focused on growing the membership. We changed our logo. We changed our membership categories. We added the affiliate program. We added greeters, and just all sorts of things that we could do to basically make it a better association. So we had a lot of fun. Our vision at that time, we changed it to become the recognized voice of the speaking profession throughout Southern California, benchmarking for excellence. And our mission was to enhance platform excellence, facilitate business development opportunities, and, of course, foster community and increase the brand awareness of NSA. And so we had lots of goals. We achieved several. We actually got to over 220 members. We increased our cash flow significantly, put lots of money in the bank, and had lots of opportunities to grow the chapter. So we had a lot of fun, a lot of enthusiasm. Some of my best friends are back from the old 2000, 2005, 2010 days. And so I encourage you to get involved, get in a chapter, get on a committee. The more you do, the more you learn. The more you do, the more you get to know people, the more you become friends and learn from each other and grow your personal business. So thanks again, George Headley. From 2001, 2002, I'm still kicking, I'm still speaking 40, 50 times a year, and it all started right there at the local Los Angeles chapter of the National Speakers Association.
Thank you, George. Bob Chesney's term dates all the way back to 1993-94.
Hi, I'm Bob Chesney, a 20-plus year member of NSA, and as I look back on some of the most memorable experiences this great organization has afforded me, none are more significant than my GLAC presidency. There's a lot of pride I feel for what our leadership team accomplished, and the list of that team is way too long to give tribute to, but the achievements were significant. A couple in particular that I'd like to mention are the creation of our own NSA convention recap, which we held in Palm Springs each summer. Then there was Speak Like a Pro, or SLAP as it became known, which was our major fundraiser. And I'm very proud of the fact that 6 of our board members became GLAC presidents following me. In conclusion, I want to thank Kevin Graham and salute him for his work in chronicling the work of the past presidents and wish him all the best.
Thank you, Bob. Next up, Mike Rounds served as president in 1995-96 with a theme of Together We Make It Happen.
The Greater Los Angeles chapter of the National Speakers Association and the National Speakers Association, in conjunction with Who Cares Productions, presents Mike Rounds, the GLAC NSA president for 1995 and 1996. Wow! You'd think with an introduction like that, you'd get a celebrity with some real industry standard, but instead, you get me, Mike Rounds. And yes, I was GLAC NSA president from 1995 through 1996. Back then, a gallon of gas cost $1.09, which allowed me to drive myself crazy for a lot less money. Now, you may not know this, but technically I wasn't actually chapter president because I was crowned as chapter emperor at the induction ceremony by James Brown and Connie Yambert, which is probably why Prince Charles and Princess Diana got divorced and the mad cow disease hit Britain. There were several significant things that occurred during this time period, like the launch of DVDs, eBay starting their online auction website, and my staying home nights trying to buy back the tapes from my earlier performances. 1995 and 1996 saw the release of several popular films which have since become classics, including Independence Day, Twister, Mission Impossible, and my video demo tapes, which are rumored to be archived with the Nixon tapes as being detrimental to the good of the country. Frankly, I didn't do much during my presidency, but my board sure did, which is probably why I can't remember anything significant about the chapter's accomplishments that year, although I'm sure there were many. Most of the memorable things that I did were during my year as president-elect, where I actually had to do some work. It included the creation of the Summer Symposium, Meet the Pros Day, and the Connie Contest, which took me 8 years to save up enough money to bribe the judges into letting me win. In 1995, I did present a program at the NSA National Convention in Minneapolis, where I got discovered and hired for a 4-year contract with Career Track Seminars. Plus, past President Ralph D. Donato gave me an introduction to an international training company, and I started doing programs in South America, which has subsequently got me on Interpol's list of undesirable speakers. Well, boys and girls, that's all I can remember, because the memory is the second thing to go. I just wish I could remember what the first was. In the meantime, if you want to know where I'm currently lowering the property values with my speaking skills, just go to my website at www.roundsmiller.com and check out the Google Calendar. Break a leg.
Break a leg, Mike. Next, John Patrick Dolan, a former member of the year, shares some memories from his term as GLAC president in 1988-89.
This is John Patrick Dolan. I did have a great time as president of the chapter of the Greater Los Angeles Area National Speakers Association, mostly because of the people that we met and the growing process that took place. It was in the mid-'80s, and the speaking profession was growing by leaps and bounds, and we were sort of along for the ride. Lola Gillibard and some of the other folks that were involved, Connie Yambert and some of the old guard, were sort of passing along the torch to some of the newer folks. And I have to say, I looked forward to the second Saturday of every month. Hopefully this is enough for you to at least know that I cherish my history in the National Speakers Association and look back with fond memories of the time that we spent every second Saturday in Los Angeles.
We're glad that you contributed to the video, John Patrick Dolan, and I hope that you don't mind me clipping in a shot from your website, just in case any of us speakers need help. Next up, Mary Ann Mathis from 2005-2006.
2005-2006 was the year that I had the privilege of being chapter president of GLAC. I want to share with you the events that remain most vividly in my mind as being the most beneficial to GLAC members. By far, the 6 years the chapter conducted the Palm Springs Symposiums were huge in terms of payoffs to the chapter. While the initial goals of these events was to provide a learning opportunity for members, recruit new members, and hopefully make some money for the chapter, the payoffs proved to be much greater than anticipated. The conference in the desert proved to be an excellent vehicle for leadership development and succession planning for the chapter. It is no accident that 4 of the symposium chairs went on to become chapter presidents, including myself, Ed Pohl, Judith Parker Harris, and Kelly Hill. The event became so successful that we were able to attract well-known national presenters. Additionally, it was at the symposium that we initiated the Chapter Lifetime Achievement Awards to deserving GLAC members. To date, these have included Terry Polson, Lola Gillibard, Connie Yambert, and Jim Cathcart. These role models have been and continue to inspire us all.
Wow, that was indeed special. Thank you, Mary Ann Mathis. I commented earlier on the strategic nature of the NSA GLAC Speakers Academy. Please welcome Dean and immediate past president of this great chapter, Mr. Gary Hankins.
My year as president of the chapter, 2011-2012, was a fun, rewarding, exciting experience. New to the board that year were Jim Cathcart, CSP, CPAE, former NSA member, and Dave Rolander, former member of our chapter board of directors, and a new guy by the name of Kevin Graham. Our mission, we decided, was to create a 10 times culture, which means for our chapter, 10 times more value, more productivity, more profitability, more innovation, 10 times greater results, and of course, 10 times more fun. Throughout the year, we had some great programs. Kicking off was Tony Alessandra, CSP, CPAE, who raised for our chapter $20,000, and past NSA President Terry Paulson, CSP, CPAE, for the installation of officers. We followed up with a number of great programs, Ed Robinson, Jill Conrath. In January, we held the first ever USC Distinguished Speaker Symposium featuring past NSA Presidents Glenna Salisbury, CSP, CPAE, Jim Cathcart, and Allison Massari, who blew the general session audience away at the NSA 2011 convention. We followed up with a program by Jim Cathcart, Shep Hyken, Dick Russo, and past President Phil Van Hooser, CSP, CPAE. We wrapped up the year with NSA President-elect, now President, Ron Culberson, CSP. Special thanks to the chapter meeting planner, Heba Hamden, who created processes for our chapter meetings and Speaker Academy classes to help them run much more smoothly. And thanks in large part to our VP of Membership, Kevin Graham, our membership increased from 69 to 78 chapter members. I had the privilege of serving as the Dean of the Speakers Academy, along with our Vice Dean, I like to call her the Dean of Vice, Liz DeClifford. Thanks to the talented chapter members who served as guest speakers at the 11 monthly classes, we had some terrific programs. And of the 12 students, 4 of them became NSA members.
It has been an honor to follow in your footsteps, Gary. Thank you. Tom Callister is a high-quality professional whose term was all the way back in 1992-93. Welcome, Tom.
Hi, this is Tom Callister, past president of the Greater Los Angeles chapter of the National Speakers Association in 1992 and 1993. I was introduced to NSA by my great friend and also past president, Lola Gillibard. For me, NSA offered opportunities to meet exciting, positive, creative, and self-motivated individuals interested in helping others discover and achieve their full potential. Ira M. Hayes, past national president, became a good friend and mentor of mine. Ira shared with me his signature expression of the word great. To this day, when anyone asks me, "How are you doing, Tom?" my answer is, and always will be, great. As professional speakers, I discovered that we positively impact the lives of others. Good speakers, great speakers, and there are many, can change lives. Of course, bad speakers, not you of course, can also serve as an example of how not to do things. Either way, we have the opportunity to learn and to grow. The Los Angeles chapter has been and is the home of many of the great speakers: Jim Cathcart, Terry Paulson, Eileen McDarr, Lola Gillibard, and far too many others to name here. I hope you take every chance that you have to meet, listen to, learn from, and get to know others in this exciting profession. The information and the skills we learn as professional speakers can enrich the lives of everyone we meet, as well as ourselves. My best wishes to you for success in your personal and professional life. For now, this is Tom Callister, signing off. Great.
Spoken like a true leader. Thank you, Tom. That was great. Ed Pohl has served GLAC for a long time.
GLAC and NSA have been a delight for me. Of the professional organizations of which I have been a member over the years and in which I've held leadership positions, I have to say that NSA GLAC has been the most loving and caring group of all. No holds barred in providing support and encouragement. No holds barred in supplying new ideas and creativity. No holds barred in critiquing, at my request, my new products and supplying ideas to improve on what I had created. One example was the creation of an audio magazine that has lasted for many years. While driving out to the Palm Springs Summer Symposium, an annual event for GLAC, and one that I led years later, I was listening to the voices of experience. The then president of National NSA was talking about leveraging one's effort. Considering myself a master of leverage, I turned off the CD and ruminated about this idea. By the time I reached Palm Springs, I had an idea, discussed it with several people, and on my return home a few days later, had the outline for a new audio product. That was the summer. By October of that year, I had my first beta product, and by November, I had the full product, a 1-hour audio magazine that was published monthly for more than 10 years. NSA was also responsible for my volunteering to write my very first book in 1993, which turned out to be a bestseller for the American Bar Association. As I speak in 2013, I'm writing the 3rd edition of this book, which will be released later this year. For me, personally, the journey has been exciting. The people I've met have been loving contributors to my well-being and the products and legacy I've created despite previously believing that my sister was the creative one in our family. And I've enjoyed helping GLAC thrive, first working as the treasurer of our group and then through the ranks to symposium co-chair with Judith Parker Harris, and then as leader of our group. I left in my wake a very healthy organization with a large treasury and the ability to experiment with new ideas. I'm perhaps most proud of the fact that on my departure, there was a lineage set up for the next 3 leaders of the group. If you are listening to me now, you are either a member of long standing and will remember the good times of which I speak, or a recent joiner, in which case I invite you to step forward and become a leader as I did. You will be well rewarded. Thank you.
Judith Parker Harris is another long-standing contributor to GLAC.
This is Judith Parker Harris with some presidential answers. In my term, 2007-2008, John McCain and Barack Obama were duking it out for president, with comic relief provided by their vice presidential running mates, Sarah Palin and Joe Biden. Big banks were being bailed out, and big families were opting for staycation, as hockey moms fist bumped and tweeted their way above the fray. Iron Man used technology to fight against evil, and Slumdog Millionaire fueled everyone's dream to find love and wealth as the country slumped into recession. Proud to be one of the largest chapters in the NSA, as well as an innovator in new programs such as May Media Mania, GLAC was a leader, but not without challenges. An overly ambitious Palm Springs symposium left the chapter hurting for funds as I entered the presidency. Combined with the quest to attract new members, retain the old, and provide high-quality education, my board was motivated to support me in a bold, new idea. We would devote the year to branding, with the goal being to brand as many members as possible. We had a year-long contest, a national branding board of advisors, and we made every monthly meeting an event. It was thrilling and successful. I still get thank yous from members who found their brands that year. The laughter and excitement of Tom Antion's 2-day butt camp turned into tears of joy as he raised $12,000 for the chapter, bringing us back into the black again, with our sights on providing one of the fiscally most successful years ever. For true hilarity, that had to be getting the dry and oh-so-serious Ed Pohl to do a magic trick when we chaired our symposium, and even to sing a few notes in one of my crazy Get the Crowd Moving skits. My personal and professional growth centers around one word: people. I met and worked with wonderful people who became friends and associates, including Ed Pohl, Dr. Joanne Pena, Lola Gillibard, Tom Antion, and Kelly Hill, who has tragically passed on, to name only a tiny few. The first time I attended a national NSA convention, Len Lipton found out it was my first and called me up to help. I didn't know I needed help, but he sure made a difference. He asked me who I wanted to meet and to make a plan. He said, if you can't attend their session, contact them before the convention and arrange for coffee or tea, and make sure you're organized about what you want to learn. Well, I did that with Mitch Guzet, as corporate speaking was one of my goals. Mitch refused coffee, but met me for dinner and helped me redesign my entire brand to be more corporate friendly. The spirit of NSA is personified by members giving each other as much as they can. Sadly, Len Lipton passed away in 2011. All he did was give and give and give. I trust he's receiving now. I greatly admire Lola Gillibard. Just thinking of her, I smile. She's naturally funny and full of heart. Her marriage and family are a testament to the love she gives with each laugh. Age is truly just a number with Lola. She teaches us all how to smile through our tears and keep moving forward joyously while trying new things and embracing life. There's only one reason to look back in Lola's life, and that's to find another story.
Everybody loves Lola. Thank you, Judith Parker Harris. Steve K. brings a message of service. Steve?
This is Steve Kay. The message that I would give people is serving as a chapter leader is a fantastic experience because you learn so much about leadership, about yourself, and about other people. As a chapter leader, you have two responsibilities. The first, of course, is to lead the members in fulfilling the mission of NSA, and the second is to help the next person, your replacement, do a better job than you did. And through this second activity, you help leave a legacy of expanding excellence. That, Kevin, is the message that I'd like to pass on, and that summarizes the learning that I gained serving as a chapter leader.
Great bird photo, Steve. Wow, that can't be easy to capture an image like that. Teddy Roosevelt was a great president from over 100 years ago. Seems like yesterday, I know, Lola. This GLAC past president knows something about Teddy Roosevelt. Please welcome GLAC 2003-2004 president, Mr. David Markovitz.
This is David Markovitz, president of GLAC in 2003-04. It was 10 years ago this month when I started my term, and we had 10 past presidents present on this day in 2003. And I am pleased to be here with you today carrying on that tradition. What stands out in my mind was the team of volunteers we had that did all the work that resulted in a high-quality experience for our members. I was the man in the middle of two Lindas, that is. Linda Coleman Willis was president before me and left us in good financial shape and with energized members. Linda Curtin was president-elect and worked closely with me throughout my entire term. Joanne Pena was our program chair and did an outstanding job recruiting top talent to our monthly meetings. Cheryl Roush and Cindy Chernow worked for 6 months to produce our Palm Springs weekend with a program that would rival any NSA multi-day program. The big technology issue 10 years ago was creating effective websites for speakers. And the newest technology that we were hearing about then was something called a blog. No one at that time knew what those were. Well, as Teddy Roosevelt would say, have a bully meeting.
David, you are a good man and you represent NSA very well. Thank you, sir. Nancy Miller reigned over GLAC in 2001-2002 with her theme, The Business of Speaking. Unfortunately, Nancy's audio recording could not be found at the time of editing. I offer my deepest regrets to Nancy and thank you for your great service. We've waited long enough. Let's hear from Linda Coleman Willis, GLAC president in 2002-2003.
This is Linda Coleman Willis, 2002-2003 president of NSA GLAC. What was happening in Los Angeles at the time of my service? Phil Jackson was the coach, Shaquille O'Neal the center, and the Lakers were definitely in the playoffs. We had a strong chapter, outstanding board. My theme was, let's get visible together. And my greatest contribution, I believe, was my Media Mania, bringing the media to the chapter. We had a theme song that was rewritten by Judith Parker Harris, and it was the adaptation to Let's Get Physical, and it was called Let's Get Visible. What personal or professional growth did I experience through my service to the chapter? I came to NSA GLAC as a speaker. I became a business professional who speaks, and it was one of the greatest learning experiences of my career. For me, meeting some superstar speakers whose books I had read and never thought I would personally meet. I had a radio talk show during that time, and I was able to interview some of those top speakers from the chapter and beyond. It was amazing to see, standing before me, some of the top professionals who speak in the country, and I was able to meet them. That was compelling for me. The single best investment you can make in yourself and your business on your way to becoming a well-known professional speaker is National Speakers Association, and if you're in Southern California, the Greater Los Angeles chapter. Got a comment about the spirit of Cavett. His spirit runs through the very fiber of the organization. Respect, empower, include. Who is someone you greatly admire? In the chapter, there were so many, I almost cannot name them. But if I must, I love Lola and Connie. They were so inspirational and inspiring to me. My mentor for many years was Les Brown. And the person I really have learned to respect and admire since I had the opportunity to work for the Obama campaign from 2010 through to 2012 is Michelle Obama. She is the spirit of everything that you could ever want to be and a mentor.
Wow. Great photos, Linda. Les Brown, Michelle Obama, and I think that was even Jack Nichols of the Founders District Speakers Bureau doing the freak with David Rolander. Next up, Dr. Mary Ellen Lipinski. What's up, Doc?
This is past president of GLAC, Dr. Mary Ellen Lipinski, who was president in 1998 to 99 with the theme Share Your Spirit. Our chapter had so much going on and was so busy during my years, and especially my year as president. I spoke on roller skates. Bonnie Dean had sparkly tennis shoes, and just everybody was involved. We have a lot of past presidents in our chapter. So I have such fond memories, and I just want to wish GLAC the best always.
Thank you for the memories and warm wishes, Mary Ellen. Well, we've gone long enough without some more Jim Cathcart.
Los Angeles was always one of the most desirable chapters to visit because, when people came to LA, there were so many options. And I lived in Oklahoma back in the day and then moved to San Diego in 1982 and lived there for 20 years. So coming to LA was a big deal. It was fun to come visit the chapter. Still is today, for that matter. Here's a comment on the spirit of Cavett. I knew Cavett Robert, and I knew him well. When I joined NSA, it was 1976, and Cavett, of course, was one of the primary players. The first president of NSA was Bill Gove, and he served for 2 years in a row as president. Cavett never served as president. He was just the founder, and just the founder. He was the founder, and he was the one that made it all happen, brought everybody together to get it going. So I joined in 1976. NSA just had a handful of members. My first meeting was 1978, I believe. It was Louisville, Kentucky, the annual convention at the Galt House, G-A-L-T House Hotel. And I remember Cavett being there. The president was Ira Hayes. Dr. Kenneth McFarland was one of the featured speakers. And they held the first CPAE awards at that time. CPAE had been named Continuare Proficius Articulatus Excelere by Dave Yoho, Sr., who was the person that spearheaded that committee to come up with the designation. And they gave the first awards, I think they gave about 40 of them or so, at the luncheon at the Galt House, and I couldn't afford to attend that luncheon. It was an extra $40 charge, and so I went across the street to a hot dog vendor, got a hot dog, and stood in the hallway and listened in while they bestowed the awards. And I remember the speaker was Zig Ziglar, and I remember specifically hearing Nick Carter of Nightingale Conant Corporation accepting the CPAE on behalf of Earl Nightingale. That was quite a substantial moment. Years later, Jim Newman, CPAE, came up with, he was from Los Angeles, by the way, he came up with a change to the name of CPAE to Council of Peers Award of Excellence. And then President of NSA, Robert Henry, suggested we change it to Council of Peers Award for Excellence. And then a few years after that, Sheila Murray Bethel and I, Jim Cathcart, worked together and brought a proposal to the board of directors of NSA to call it the CPAE Speaker Hall of Fame, and that's what it is today.
Thank you, Jim. That relationship selling app is the bomb. Hey, I mentioned earlier that Connie Yambert had a special personal story to share, and I think we've waited long enough. Connie, please, give us a special look back at how you overcame a professional challenge.
Now, during my presidency, we had so many wonderful programs. We had the Bronze, Silver, and Gold program. We had a speaker school. We had a summer symposium. We had showcase speakers, and the programs went on and on for quite a period of time. And then I don't know what happened to them, but they just seemed to dissipate. But they were wonderful programs. I'm going to quickly tell you about my own experience with the Bronze, Silver, and Gold. I achieved the bronze and the silver very easily, and when it came to the gold, I was lacking in just one thing, one area, and I had to think of something that was unusual to prove my speaking ability and my exposure and that kind of thing. And I had an interview. I was an international spokesperson for an organization, and I had an interview by Dan Rather. And at that time, what they did was they'd take the videos and send them to the military at various locations. And I had a daughter who was in the Coast Guard at the time, and she was in the Antarctic. And what they did was send an interview to her group in the Antarctic. And she was writing a letter or doing something, not paying any attention to the interview on television, but her boyfriend, who's now her husband of 26 years, was paying attention. And he saw me on television. He said, "Sloan," he said, "isn't that your mother?" And yes, it was. And when I was able to tell them that I had appeared on television in the Antarctic, that put me over the top, and that was how I got my gold.
Very nice, Connie. Other past presidents of GLAC include Linda Curtin, Robert Davis, Bonnie Dean, Ralph DiDonato, Lynn Banker Ryan, Russell Seeley, John Hall, Virgil Beasley, William Wolfe, Charles Salisbury, and Jacob Weisberg. Thank you for your service, ladies and gentlemen. Any look back at our chapter would not be complete without giving a nod to our chapter administrator, Lori Aquina. As part of TJ management, Lori has connected with members and supported the leadership team for many, many years. Thank you, Lori, for your great service. We mentioned the Member of the Year recognition earlier, and this is a quick scan of the individuals who contributed to the chapter at such a high rate. Member of the Year is a great honor and one that does not come easy. Thank you to all of our Members of the Year. Thank you to Richard Cohn of Cohn Audio Services for your great work with our chapter events and individual speaker projects.
As NSA President from 1998 to 99, I was blessed with the confidence of members in the board, a great leadership and convention planning team, and an organization ready to embrace needed changes. I served with our new young Chief Executive Officer, Stacy Techner. That's right, he was young in the first full year of his leadership. President-elect Dave Gordon and I both realized quickly that if NSA was to develop a more significant role in the meetings industry, it would be Stacy that must be our continuity and point of influence. We worked together to deliver on the dream of one NSA, bringing the chapters and national into better alignment. We worked to raise the bar on membership while encouraging chapters to serve as a better launching pad for new speakers. During my year, we saw the International Federation take form and grow. As a strong supporter of its vision, I was later chosen to be president of what has now become the Global Speakers Federation. What a journey it has been to see professionals from all over the world and to know that we can invent the future of speaking together. There have been many awards and designations over the years. I've earned my CSP. I've been awarded my CPAE, the Ambassador Award from GSF, and the Pacesetter Award from IGAB, and of course the coveted Cavett. Although never serving as a leader of GLAC, I've always been a member and considered GLAC my home team. As a result, I treasure receiving the GLAC Lifetime Achievement Award in 2002. There have been so many people over the years who've made a difference. So many on my leadership team served me well as president, but it was another GLAC member, Eileen McDarr and Vanna Novak, who made my theme, soaring on the wings of words, truly take flight in San Antonio. I've been soaring with pride ever since. But my year was just part of the 40-year history of this great organization. Together, GSF, NSA, and GLAC, let's make the next 40 years even better.
Hey, there's Kane Phelps, and it looks like he's jonesing for some Lola. Here you go, Kane. Some more Lola for you and everyone else to enjoy.
Let's hear for Jackie. Yay! You will be so happy to find out that I am not going to take anything off. I'm so glad to be here. At my age, I am glad to be anywhere. I am 81 years old. I just love being married. So much fun to have that one person in your life to aggravate. I have to tell you, though, after you've been married a while, the passion in your relationship kind of starts to dwindle. All of a sudden, you wake up one morning and you look over and you realize, I am sleeping with a relative. But he's got a full head of hair, all his own teeth, and no restrictions on his driver's license. What is not to love? And we're in pretty good health. We have a little CRS. Does everybody know what CRS is? Nobody knows what CRS is?
Cold roast seal.
What did you say?
Cold roast seal.
Cold roast seal. You know what? That guy who hollered out, I know you love Tuesdays, my oldest son, but I think you're worse. CRS stands for Can't Remember Shit. Some mornings I wake up and my mind is in such a fog, I'm sure somebody puts the delete key. And those people that we send to Washington, they all suffer from it. After we elect them, they get up there and they forget why we sent them there in the first place. And I keep telling Hank, it's not that I've lost my memory, I just can't remember where I put it. That was my oldest son. We raised 4 boys. My oldest son is the loudest, obviously. We raised 4 boys, and I was a fantastic mom.
Yeah! Yeah!
Until I had kids. All my kids are raised in a broken home. They broke everything in sight. And they kept threatening to run away from home, and it was that very thought that kept hanking me going all through the And I took them everywhere, but they just kept coming back. And they all grew to be over 6 feet tall, and they were always challenging each other. One day I caught all 4 boys in the bathroom. You're getting ahead of me. I caught them in the bathroom competing. They were competing to see whose strength could go the farthest. I was appalled, and I ran to tell husband Hank, and he gave me that's my boy's smile. He said, what did you do? I said, I hit the ceiling. He said, you win. motivating days. When I have one of those days, on my way home, I stop off at my neighborhood pharmacy. And I buy one of those home pregnancy kits. And when I get home, I take it. And then no matter what happens the rest of the day, I can say, well, at least I'm not pregnant. Well, the boys are all grown now, and they never call me. They say they're too busy. And I say, you know, I was too busy to go into 8 hours of hard labor. But by golly, I found the time. My oldest son. Oh, my youngest the other day and got his voicemail. Hi, this is Ted. Your call is real important to me. Please leave a message. You have 30 seconds. That kid has never talked to me that nice in his whole life. Now I can't say what I really want to say. You bum. You gave me stretch marks all the way down to my knees and you don't even have time to call your mother. So I say hi. This is Mom. Just want you to know that the doctor said he hopes everything's going to be okay. Now my oldest son, the loud one, my oldest son is really gone high tech. I called him the other day. Got his voicemail. It said, this is Mom, press 1. If this is Dad, press 2. If it's anybody else, press 3. Well, I'm Mom, so I press 1. And then it said, for happy birthday, press 1. Anniversary, press 2. If I'm sorry, press 3. Well, I decided I was going to change my voicemail to the voicemail. So now when one of them calls, my voicemail says, if you still love your mother, press 1. If you think your mother still loves you, press 2. And if you need to borrow more money, press 911. I know that if my husband Hank would find himself single again in this lifetime, I know all those senior ladies would line up at our front door with their casserole. You've been there. I read some of those personal columns. Recent widow. Just buried her 4th husband. Looking for someone to round out a 6-unit plot. Well, the one that read, I can remember Monday through Thursday. If you can remember Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, let's get together and make a week. Thank you, sir. Well, I want everybody to know that if I found myself single again in this lifetime, and I put an ad in the personal column, I would let the men know I was serious. My ad would read, beautiful female, rich, comes with a handicapped parking sticker.
Love and laughter always. Lola, you and Hank are angels. Thank you. As one of our final segments, please enjoy Mike Round's presentation for Connie Ambert.
Normally, when an organization presents somebody with a Lifetime Achievement Award, the only thing that the organization knows about the individual is what they've done for the organization or since they've been involved with the organization. Lifetime Achievement Awards, however, are for a lifetime of achievement. So today we'd like to see what makes this person worthy of an achievement award for their lifetime. She's a professional speaker, a great professional speaker. And what makes a great speaker great? Well, not just speaking, but a lifetime of giving to others that results in their achievement too. Now, our recipient started out as the role model for the series 6 Feet Under. The family business was the funeral parlor business, and her father was a mortician. In high school, she was voted most likely to. You fill in the blanks. She attended City College of New York, where she majored in whoopee. Yeah, well, okay. During her summers in college, she worked for an ad agency. She wrote ad copy for do-it-yourself embalming kits and other related items. The firm was a Madison Avenue firm called the Ralph Yambert Agency, and she decided to move up the fastest way possible by marrying the boss. Since she was a writer as well as a speaker, she took up writing. She wrote for Western Association News for 10 years. She's featured in the Anthology of Influential Women, she's written articles for dozens of magazines, and she's featured in numerous other people's books. She's been an organizational leader too. She was president of the Sales and Marketing Executives Association. She has been president not once but twice of the National Speakers Association Greater Los Angeles chapter, and she's been on the board of directors of Women in Business. She has countless awards. The NSA GLAC Golden Microphone Award for Speaking Excellence, the Connie Award, which is actually named after her, Sales and Marketing Executives Association's Merit Awards, Honor Awards, President's Awards, and one of the things that is really clever is Ralph's Markets Award for Excellence. Now, most professional speakers have plaques and trophies and things on their wall. Connie has a little shopping cart that's about 9 or 10 inches long. It's a miniature cart that they presented her. And of all the things that Connie has that I've ever coveted, that's what I'd like to have. I think that is probably the niftiest award that anybody has ever given anybody. She has a lot of major accomplishments too. She's trained thousands of students in public speaking from all walks of life. She's been a president, board member, and committee chair for NSA GLAC since its inception. Did you know that over 50% of all the chapter presidents have been her students? She's a founding member of the chapter, and was originally known as the Golden Voice chapter, and she's responsible for the rebuilding of the Sales and Marketing Executives Association here in Los Angeles. She spent 35 years as a master trainer of speakers. For years and years, Connie had a program in her home on Thursday night. Her policy was you would pay one time and you could come forever. And suddenly people would show up at her doorstep, or they would call her that she hadn't heard from for years. And they would say, Connie, I have to give a speech, I have to give a presentation, I have to do something in front of a public audience. Could I come back and work my material in front of you and your group? And Connie would say, certainly, you're always welcome. She ran sessions at the NSA GLAC Speaker School for years. Some of the most notable trainings that have ever been given by the chapter were given by Connie. And for years, she had the Speakers Club, which was a wonderful tool for people who don't normally speak for a living. She would get people together for a dinner at some place like the Velvet Turtle restaurant or some upscale restaurant where it would be a nice environment. They would bring their families, and they would have to be prepared to give a speech on a topic. People that have been involved in this are doctors, lawyers, engineers, art critics, people who have to speak but who don't normally have speech training. A wonderful program. As I mentioned, she spent years as an executive speech trainer, and she worked with Ralph's Groceries for years and years and years. Now, the thing you want to keep in mind is that, according to the Book of Lists, public speaking is the #1 fear in the world. Death is 7, public speaking is #1. So people are terrified of speaking in public. And yet, the Ralph's executives were signed up years in advance to take her training. Isn't that wild? That tells you something about it. I think really the whole reason that people signed up is that her entire training program consisted of teaching them to say one word correctly: linoleum. Now, Connie has been a wife, mother, a successful career woman. She says her greatest achievement is her family. She has 4 children and 4 grandchildren, and one of her kids is Whitney Otto. When I first met Connie, she was bragging about Whitney because Whitney had written a book called How to Make an American Quilt. And Steven Spielberg had seen it and made a movie out of it, first time out of the box. And Connie was justifiably proud, and she used to run around apologizing for bragging about her daughter. Connie, with all the people who have all the problems with all their kids, having a daughter who wrote a book that was turned into a movie by Steven Spielberg is something to brag about. Her late husband, Ralph Yambert, gave her the encouragement to speak, and it was his legacy. She's passed this legacy on to thousands of other people. This year, the Los Angeles chapter of the National Speakers Association is proud and privileged to present their Lifetime Achievement Award to the Dean of American Public Speaking Coaches, Connie Yambert.
Well, Connie, congratulations. I wish I had a lot more time to. Mike covered everything, but what he didn't cover was the warmth. What he didn't cover was the woman who always says yes every time you ask her to do something. What he didn't cover is someone who genuinely cares about GLAC and always is there to make a difference. This honor comes from our heart because you have been fabulous. We served many years on many boards. We've had a lot of fun times and a lot of good stories to share. You certainly deserve this, and I'm extremely proud of you. Happy birthday, and thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now you can see it.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
She wanted to look at it earlier, and I said no.
She wouldn't let
Not
me.
until it's
Let me see
yours.
it.
You
Oh,
don't need this, do you?
thank you. No,
Okay,
I don't.
Now we'd like to hear a few words from Connie. So once again, congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
Wish you the best.
You don't know what it means to me to have friends like you, and you, and you, and you, and you. Okay, you know, Mike told you that for 35 years I have been training speakers and have been speaking. So the fact is that after 35 years, if you were to ask me to come up here and ask me what goes into a good talk, I could talk for hours on how to make an effective introduction. I could talk for a very long time on poise, the rules of poise. And if you wanted to know how to control your voice with volume, range, inflection, tone and voice placement and pacing, that would not be a problem for me. Or if you wanted to know how to use correct diction, avoid trite phrases and overused words, I could tell you that too. How to use humor in a talk, or how to use, and Patricia alluded to it today, the you attitude. I'm very strong on the you attitude. And then I could talk to you about the 3 phases of action in public speaking: voice action, facial action, and physical action. And then I could also point out things that might detract from your talks and how to develop a great deal of enthusiasm. That would not be a problem for me. But an acceptance speech? I'd never done this before, so consequently, I have had to prepare a few notes. Oh, heck, I'm just going to speak from the heart. I don't need those. You know, one of the greatest things in my career is when students who have taken the training 10, 15, 25 years ago contact me again and say, Connie, this is how I have used the training. This is how it has impacted my life. And just recently, a gentleman called me and he said, I had to tell you something. And I had to reach to remember who he was. He had taken the training 15 years ago. When he was in the training, I told a story of having been held up at gunpoint in downtown Los Angeles late on a Sunday night. And when these two gentlemen, these two people, pulled up in a car, in a stolen truck I discovered later, they got out and they pointed this gun at me and they said, give me your purse. And I immediately started thinking about public speaking skills. And I thought, number one, I'm not giving up this purse. It's an expensive Gucci purse. I just bought it in Lake Tahoe when I was there on a speaking engagement, and I wasn't willing to give it up. So I remembered the you attitude, and instead of getting defensive and saying, no, you can't have my purse, I said, you may not have my purse. And I used my authority voice. And what I did then was I started negotiating by saying, here, take my money. You can have my money. And they seemed satisfied with that, and they left. So when this gentleman called me, he said the same thing happened to me. I was held up at gunpoint. And he said immediately that picture of you and what happened to you came to mind. So that was very exciting to me that they could use it in so many different ways. But even more important than what they have learned from me is what I have learned from my students. Because every week I had the opportunity to listen to them and to benefit from their expertise. For example, Linda Curtin, your immediate past president. Linda Curtin has management skills that are superb. And she presented it in such an interesting and entertaining way that one would never forget what she had to say. Remember all the hats, Linda? How could I ever forget that? And then there was Ed Pohl. Where's Ed Pohl? Ed Pohl, you've seen a lot of him, a brilliant lawyer, although he's very modest about being a lawyer, but he is really great, and I learned so many legal little tidbits from him. And maybe some of you don't know that the Institute of Management Assistants has voted his blog my favorite blog. And you can see it at www.labizblog.com. And then Mary Ann Mathis, your current president. Mary Ann has worked in the aerospace industry for many years, so she was very well acquainted with these massive layoffs they've had during that time that she was there. And I happened to be experiencing this with somebody in my family currently who had been with the company for 16 years, and because of changes in the company, he has been laid off. But what came to mind was a very illustrative story that Mary Ann used when she was in the training, how you can actually feel a sense of grief and loss at this. And the way she described it was, suppose you go to a job every day for 16 years, and you approach the train station, you climb the steps up to the platform, and you stand on the platform where you have stood for 16 years, and it was always predictable that train would come, and you would get on it, and you would go to your job. And this day, you're standing there looking. There is no train. That train is never coming. Well, it got me in the gut. Who was talking about, Patricia, about getting you in the gut? Well, that talk, when she gave it, got me in the gut. Did I know that many years later I was going to be experiencing this with a member of my family? No. Then there is another student who taught me a wonderful sense of courage. She was only 20 years old, and she was a college student when her cousin was getting married, and she was going to be maid of honor at the wedding. And the night before, when they have the rehearsal dinner rather, she took a ride with a cousin of hers, a male cousin of hers, on a motorcycle. And as they were going to the restaurant where this dinner was going to occur, they were hit by a drunk driver. She was tossed into a ditch, and as she did, she felt her leg being severed. They rushed her to the hospital, and her leg was indeed amputated. This woman, another one of your past presidents, does better on one leg. She always puts that one leg forward, that best foot forward. She does that better than many of us do on two legs. And of course, I'm talking about my very good friend, Nancy Miller. Now, the thing I love about Nancy is not only has she always been so courageous, but there's no sense of self-pity at all. One evening, she and I were going out to dinner, and she is certainly entitled to use a handicapped parking spot, and she was driving, and she pulled into that handicapped parking spot, and I said, Nancy, you can't park here. This is for handicapped people. And she looked at me, and I said, Nancy, I never think of you as being handicapped. Now, Jim Cathcart once said that the reason people join organizations like this, there are at least two reasons. It's to make friends and for continued learning, education. And he's very right, because you do make so many friends when you join here. And I have a very, very good friend in this room. And the other day, I changed my email address. And I sent the notice out to all of my friends and colleagues and clients that I was having a new email address. And I said, however, I'm also keeping the old address. So if you wish to visit me on the old address or the new address or even my home address, feel free to do that anytime. However, when you reach my front door, you'll see a doormat that says, go away. Then I went on to say, but that doesn't apply to you. So I received an answer from this woman, and the answer was, oh, darn. Now, mind you, she lives in Laguna. I live in Pasadena. She said, oh, darn. She said, I came to visit you, and I thought you meant it, so I left. Can you guess who I'm talking about? Lola Gillibard. And it is Gillibard, isn't it? You know, I am so thrilled and delighted to be joining the ranks of Terry Paulson, Jim Cathcart, and Dottie Walters, the founder of this chapter. So this just absolutely thrills me to be getting this wonderful, wonderful honor. And I thank all of you for being here and sharing this with me today. I have prepared a conclusion, and it's right here. Oh, yeah, here it is. Thank you.
Well, that puts a wrap on this GLAC Past Presidents video. My name is Kevin Graham, 2012-2013 GLAC President, and I hope that you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you to these and the many other past presidents that have contributed content to this project. And thank you to my lovely wife of 20 years, Adriana. You are the back in my bone. The spirit of Cavett is alive and well in GLAC. Come, let's grow this business. Hey, this National Speakers Association Greater Los Angeles Chapter's Past President video was sponsored by Empowered Sales Training. We offer custom programs for sales success.